أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله عز وجل. So right now, as the COVID-19 is taking over the country and causing so much death and destruction and putting people at odds in terms of their financial stability, in terms of their mental health, being stuck at home. There's a lot of confusion and chaos going on. So the question we must ask ourselves, what can we do to help? What is there that I can do to make people's life better? That is the attitude of the believer. ثُمَّ كَانَ مِنَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْمَرْحَمَةِ Surah Al-Balad. This is the verse, I think, number 11 of Surah Al-Balad, that you will find from the believers and those who work righteousness is that they will cooperate with each other in helping people in times of patience and giving them the need and the means of perseverance, as well as helping them out in their compassion and their mercy. So one of the things that we've put together with Team Compassion here at MCC is a blood drive. So that we can give our blood, because right now the blood banks are very, very low and they are struggling to get people to give blood. And it's understandable that many people are concerned that right now, what if I go give blood and I catch COVID-19? So we just want to say that, this blood drive that we have arranged did not occur or be put together without first your safety and well-being first in mind. So it's obviously going to be regulated by the permission and the sanction of the County Health Commissioner's Office. The blood banks aren't just randomly going around collecting blood haphazardly. So this is not a time in this situation to fear COVID-19. They're going to bring a large truck that will come to MCC on Sunday, and they will stay there for much of the day. We've sent out the flyers on it. We'll send out another flyer tonight or tomorrow as well. And so they will have this truck, and everybody, all of the health workers that collect your information and your blood, they will have masks. And they will be wearing different gloves every time somebody comes in the truck. And they will be sanitizing the whole area of where anybody was while they're in the truck. So what they're going to do is we're all registering, like I've registered for 2:00 on Sunday to give my blood. And so they will give slots, 15-minute time slots. So you will sit in your car waiting. And so when the person who leaves, then you will know, and they will wave you in. So you will just be you and the health workers there in order to secure our comfort zone in terms of health and safety. If you feel comfortable, it would be best, just as right now are many of the doctors and the medical professionals and scientists are telling us that it's best to not leave the house unless you have a mask on your face. If you're going to be going around where anybody's breathing, you should be wearing a mask. And so while we said the medical professionals, they will be wearing the mask, so where there's no danger coming from them, well, you don't know if you're a carrier that doesn't know it. So you wouldn't want to leave it there and then somehow somebody get it. So I think it's a healthy safety idea to just wear some sort of a mask, even if you put some cloth or something around your face. So the following conditions you have to meet first of all. First of all, you should feel like you're in good health. You shouldn't feel like you have a headache or like you're, have any sort of a cough at all. I know it goes without saying, but we just want to make sure that nobody gets all excited about giving blood. And then on the day, they're like, I decided to give blood, and now they're feeling some feeling, and they're like, well, it can't be. It's probably not. I've been isolated. No, if you feel bad at all, you should not give blood. If you're anemic, meaning you have the low iron count and so forth, you can't give blood. If you have a serious problem or a reoccurring problem with blood pressure, you cannot give blood. You have to be 16 or over, so your teenagers, 16 and up, can give blood as long as they're 110 pounds. Maybe some of the young ladies are a bit smaller, but you're 110 pounds, 16 of age. For our mothers out there, you cannot give blood if you are pregnant. And then they just have the strict policy about those who lived in the United Kingdom in England for 3 months straight during the period of 1980 and 1996. So all of my brothers and sisters from the British community are going to feel bad about that. But what are we talking about here? The Holy Quran tells us, وَمَنْ أَحْيَاهَا فَكَأَنَّمَا أَحْيَا النَّاسَ جَمِيعًا. And whoever gives life to a person, it is as though they gave life to all of humanity. The believer should want that beautiful reward of intentionally giving life to someone with what I could possibly do to save someone's life, so that I will be recorded as having saved all of mankind. This is a good deed on your scale. I don't know how many other good deeds are on the same level. So that brings us to the fatwa, the legal ruling on blood donation. And blood donation and organ donation are seen as the same concept in Islamic law. So a little bit of difference. As well as the concept of taking money. I know that we had sent out a couple of flyers, and it was probably my mistake. I did not review the whole flyer. I mean, I reviewed the concept and the idea, but I didn't give a full review, and I didn't notice that they were putting out there, handing out $20 gift cards or water bottles for those who give blood. So we'll talk about the ruling on that and what the scholars have said and what our advice will be. So in Surah An'am, it gives that general verse number 119. Allah says, وَقَدْ فَصَّلَ لَكُم مَّا حَرَّمَ عَلَيْكُمْ إِلَّا مَا اضْطُرِرْتُمْ إِلَيْهِ. So it says, and surely He has reminded you of the things that you know you're not supposed to eat, except for what you were forced by necessity to eat. Now somebody might say, well, nobody here is talking about eating the blood, Imam. What are you talking about? We have to understand how our scholars, they look at analogies and they look at applications, and alhamdulillah, they're able to derive from the Quran and the Sunnah the rulings that we need to live our life in a way that's pleasing to God and His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this ayah is saying that, we know that you cannot eat the blood taken out of animals. You cannot eat any blood of any sort. And you cannot eat the dead animal and the pork and the animals that were slaughtered for the false gods. So then he says at the end, إِلَّا مَا اضْطُرِرْتُمْ إِلَيْهِ. And this comes up 3 times in the Quran, meaning if you find yourself, you can possibly die if you do not eat this pork or drink or eat this blood from this dead animal that you got, or from the live animal or whatever, and you would die without eating that blood, then you can eat that blood. So now the scholars said, we know you're not eating the blood. They said, you are taking in the blood into your body. And so that blood is coming into your body. So you're benefiting from the blood from someone else. And so it's like you're consuming it through your veins. So they basically said, here there's a necessity. So generally we would say the idea sounds strange and it goes against this ayah. So, but because there is a great benefit to be taken, the scholars have, basically by the vast majority of scholars, as well as the large council bodies of scholarly councils, have given the permission. So in terms of giving blood and organs and all of that, the famous ayah that's used is وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. Surely we have honored the children of Adam. The human being has a special place amongst all creation, amongst all beings that live on this earth, that walk on this earth. And so the scholars, they looked at this special value of the human being, meaning a necessity to preserve its life, all human beings' life, unless somebody's trying to attack you or kill you, or someone in your family or close to you. And so they said that here we have to have an extra reverence for the human life. And so some scholars historically, they said, well, giving an organ is disrespect. It's like disrespecting the human body, even if you're dead. They said if you're alive, So their thinking is that the Prophet ﷺ said about the dead, they said, لا تمثلوا بالموتى. The Prophet ﷺ said, don't dismember a dead body. And the Prophet ﷺ is not talking about organ donation, obviously. He's talking about the battle has been concluded, and the barbaric nature of many warring peoples of the old ages is that they would cut heads and arms off and, cut people in half and all this nonsense. And so the Prophet ﷺ was forbidding such barbaric practices. And so now in 1988, there's the Majma' al-Fiqh al-Islami, the Muslim World League, which is a body of like 60, 70 scholars that draws from pretty much every Muslim country, one or two scholars for the Muslim World League. And so they met in 1988 in Jeddah. And the question was, what about donating blood and organs and all of that? And then what about taking some sort of benefit from the one, trying to make it a sale or trying to take something in return for giving the blood or the donation of the organ? So they came up with the following points. They said the rulings that are to be discussed in the following are related to any part of the human being, including organs, blood, tissue, cells, or any otherwise. Meaning the human body is an honorable special state, and it should not be taken from or given away unless for a very important reason, unless for a great benefit. So they said the issue is the need and benefit that is proven medically for what is being taken from one human and giving it to another in terms of how it can eliminate harm and give welfare to the other person. So they said as the first ruling they talked about, what about someone taking from their own body and putting something from their own body somewhere else? Because in medicine, they have this, you take some tissue or skin or even bone or hair, and then you put it and graft it somewhere else. So they said that if it does not cause any harm to the person, and it does restore what is missing or repair a deformity, then it is permissible for the person to give part of their body for another part of their own body. And then they went on and they said, it is permissible to give an organ from a living being to another living being as long as there is no serious harm to the one that is giving it, and that the medical professionals have reached a level of efficiency at what they do, that they know that that is going to really benefit the other person who's getting it. And so we know that that's the case in organ donation. So talking about a live being, the Muslim World League, as well as pretty much all scholarly councils of the world that I've researched this issue, it's just random people who they're strictly ruling on something based upon a mentality that's not very, I'm going to be honest with you, the people who say this are not living in the West where there is a high quality organ transplant system existing, or that they know about it. And it just sounds Western and foreign to them. And they're just going to stick with their thing. So your Muslim body, it's an honorable body. It's an honorable soul, special creation. And so we're saying it's wrong, But the vast majority of scholars looking at the Islamic legal principles as a whole, and they're saying that when we can save lives, we should do it. And so if I'm going to stay alive, then there will be no serious harm or injury other than the surgery of giving, say, for example, a kidney or whatever I may need to give. They're saying that a living being can give to another living being as long as they know that death is not, expected, and that there will be no serious injury or harm. Like if for whatever reason they came up with some idea to give a lung, pretty much I'm sure that having one lung would be very disastrous. But having one kidney is not a problem. Having part of your liver is not a problem. And so you can donate those things while you're alive. And medicine has proven to show that people will stay in good shape. So they said that's permissible. According to the modern standards, they're saying it's permissible in general. Then they said it's permissible for a dead person to donate any part of their body for the life or well-being of another, as long as it is in saving a life or improving the quality of the life of another person. It cannot be given for cosmetic purposes. So if somebody has a purpose of cosmetic, they're trying to make somebody look good. So like, okay, I give my body, and then they're going to give them something. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to try to come up with any strange example, but you can't donate your organs for cosmetic to make you look better, but you can give it for the health and the livelihood of another to survive and have a better quality of life. There's one condition that they said. They said that the person who died, that Muslim person has to either personally register before they die, like when you get your license, they say, do you want to donate your organs? Every Muslim should check yes. And I'm telling you, those that said no are people, I'm telling you, in my feeling, they don't really understand Islamic law very well. Maybe they memorized some Quran, maybe they grew a big beard, somebody put them as Imam Masjid, maybe they live in a country that's not very developed. But I'm telling you, if you understand Islamic law well, and you understand how modern medicine works, you would know that giving an organ from a dead body that does not need it at all to someone to save their life is purely Islamic rahmah, that it is compassion, rahmah lil alameen, that this compassion and benevolence and giving of your own to help the welfare of others, especially when you're dead. You don't need it. So either the person has to register that I'm an organ donor before they die, or that they have authorized somebody before death that they are, as part of, my will or inheritance, that they're authorized to do with my dead body and my belongings what they will according to Islam, right? So when that person has been given that authorization, then that person. But the medical people cannot say, okay, we want to take your... And the last condition, they said that none of these things can be done with the condition of receiving material gain. So you cannot give blood or platelets or kidney or anything and say, you know what, I need to make some money out of this. This is the consensus. All Muslim scholars have agreed that you cannot ask for something in return for this donation, you or your family after you or whatever. Nobody can receive any material benefit. This is because, first and foremost, we don't own ourselves. We don't own our body. We are not in control of it. It is not our property. We don't have any right to sell it. Okay, that's one. Number two, in terms of the Prophet ﷺ, naha Rasulullah ﷺ an thaman ad-dam. So I looked in the commentary, and I guess they used to sell the blood of animals and stuff. So, but in general, the Prophet prohibited anyone taking any benefit. This is in Sahih al-Bukhari, that you should not be making any money off of giving blood or something like that. إِنَّ اللَّهَ إِذَا حَرَّمَ عَلَى قَوْمٍ أَكْلَ شَيْءٍ حَرَّمَ عَلَيْهِمْ ثَمَنًا. That if he prohibited them from eating something, then he prohibited them from benefiting from it, to sell it. Yeah. So basically, there is a debate among jurists. There is scholarly dispute. And they put this in the Muslim World League. They said we didn't come to a conclusion because there was so much, division. There was so many, split down the middle, that what if somebody said, I'll give you a gift, what they're saying at the blood bank, because it's a necessity. Or someone themselves is going to die and they have to pay money to get their kidney from someone somehow. And they know that they have trusted medical people to put it in them. So many scholars have said that's acceptable, right? But as in terms of the gift, some scholars said that. Personally, I'm not convinced. Personally, I think this is a very serious matter. And it is, if not clearly haram, it is a doubtful matter. And I think on this issue, we should avoid it. I don't see any benefit in delving in selling our blood or platelets or anything else. So I would, we're going to tell the blood bank that we're not interested in any benefit or money cards for that, because that's against the moral teachings about the sanctity of the human body and so forth. So this is the general fatwa. If anybody has any questions. Yeah, so the Samir has a question here. For the organ donor, how is the funeral process accomplished? Modern medicine is amazing. They will take your organ within an hour of your death and then fix you back up just like you were. And then you'll be just fine right after that. So it's really not a problem at all. It's something quite natural. It will not disfigure the body. They will sew it back up and make it look just normal. I've actually, been known that people who gave their organs. There was a person who was on the respirators and things, and he was going to give his organ, and then we did the janazah. We prayed the funeral, and there was no problem at all. It doesn't create any problem. Obviously, once you're dead, your blood's not flowing, so it's not like you're going to bleed or something like that. So yeah, that's that. Inshallah. If there's any other questions, okay, inshallah. So here is my homework for our 19, 20 soldiers here. I saw it go back and forth. My homework for you is we need to spread this message to everybody so that they're clear and that they so it's not a cultural thing that it's haram. It's basically a lack of juristic, authority. If someone understood Islamic law well, they would not just say it's haram, because clearly there is no ayah or hadith this is haram to donate your organs. We know that. So they're interpreting from the sanctity of the human being that we don't want to do that. But now they're being greedy with the human being's value towards others, living and dead. when I don't need both of my kidneys to stay alive. And I could help somebody stay alive with that, and then I don't need all of my liver to stay alive. I might need a special regimen of eating and so forth and exercise just to be careful, or about how I drink water or whatever, but I'll be just fine. So, if that's the thing. If they're giving you water bottles and snacks, they're not saying water bottles and snacks as a result of you giving blood. They're saying water bottles and snacks because you just gave that blood. You need nutrition to replenish. That's more of like, I need to help you get back to where you were. So you shouldn't worry about that. So the issue is going into, for sure, it's an agreed upon principle to go into the thing, say, okay, I'm giving these blood and these plasmas for money. That's haram. There is a debate now afterward. They said, thank you for giving the blood. We really needed this right now. We want to give you this. For me, I'm saying I prefer to be safe on this one. I don't see any benefit in it. And I'm not convinced that we're avoiding the thought process. Because particularly if you knew they were going to do it. Like if you didn't know, I think it'd be different. If you didn't know they were giving them out, that would be one thing. But when you know they're giving them out, then you think, I'm going to go give blood because now I get $20. So that's where we should not do that. So inshallah, if there's any other questions. So, those, like I said, I'm not trying to be disrespectful against people who've dedicated their life to Islam or whatever, but a principled understanding of Islamic law would tell you the practice of giving your organ, especially when you're dead and don't need it, and especially with the efficiency of modern medicine, is purely Islamic behavior. This is the nature of God. And so I don't see why people would make this rigidity. Yeah, so it's covered, Omar, inshallah, whenever you get a chance, just go back through. We covered, so there will be no mixing of any people at any time during this donation process. It will be fully covered. We covered that at the beginning, inshallah. So inshallah, jazakumullah khairan. My advice is please spread this out so that we can fill all this. I think we still have like 12 spots to fill. Mashallah, we already have 12 spots, I think, filled. But we have like 12 or 16 spots or something like that to be filled. I could see that whenever I went to donate, it was a few days after they put it out, and all the early ones were caught up because people are thinking, I want to be there first so that I don't have to go after everybody else. I'm going to follow all of the necessary things to do what I know I'm supposed to do to help people's lives. And I'm not fearing COVID-19. I'm going to go there with my face covered. Those people's faces are covered. I'm not touching anybody's hands or anything. And I'm not touching anything. And I'm sanitizing right after I walk out the door. So I'm good. And they're sanitizing everything. You'll see, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. May Allah bless everybody. Please spread this, the YouTube link. You go on YouTube where it says the thing and you say share. So then it'll give the copy address and then put it on all of your Muslim, those that are from MCC that give it to them so that they can see this, and inshallah we'll fill up all of those slots. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum.